Today is Monday, December 15th, 2014, and this is Before the First Cup with Zorie and Lady Pitbull on UCY.TV. Good morning, lady.
Hey, how are you?
Feeling a lot better.
Good. You were sick?
Yeah, I had the flu. It just hit both of us. This household was down.
Oh, man. That's bad.
Yeah, well, it's going away now, so I feel very good.
Oh, that's good. I'm glad to hear that. What about all the rain? How much did you get?
It's still raining here, and it's supposed to rain for the rest of the week, for all this week.
Nice.
And we haven't had too much flooding here, but down south, man, all the way up to the roofs, man, mudslides and.
So when you look at the mountains near you, are they covered in snow?
They must be, but I haven't seen them.
Oh, I thought you could see them from your place or something.
Well, you can, but it's been raining and cloudy.
Oh, I see.
It hasn't lightened up at all here.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's just drizzling rain. In fact, Whiskey Town got 13 inches.
Of snow?
Rain.
Oh, of rain? Wow, of rain?
Yeah.
I mean, 13 inches of snow is one thing, but 13 inches of rain is a complete deluge.
And it's weird because that's only like 30 miles away, and yet we only got 5 inches of that first rain. But trees came down, and we had, what was it? I think they said 70-mile-an-hour winds.
Whoa!
Me and my roommate slept through the whole thing. We were sick.
My goodness.
Yeah. But it's still, we have a long ways to go to get back up.
Oh, sure, absolutely. Well, hopefully this is a good start.
Yeah.
I mean, rain for a whole week. That's a great start.
Mm-hmm. So we're hoping. But it's just drizzle. It knocked my greenhouse over. We looked outside and went back in, went back to bed.
Oh, my goodness.
We still have the mess to clean up whenever it clears up, but the rain is good.
Yeah. I'm looking in the Chitango was down all weekend practically.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was like Jules had to put another chat into the underneath the Chitango as the UCY chat in case that ever goes down. So I don't know. The internet's just getting so strange, and Skype updated on me without asking, and it's all weird now. Oh man,
that's crazy.
Bad deal.
Mm-hmm.
Bad deal.
Now, I see Cheney's back in the news.
Oh, God.
Makes me so sick.
The only news I want to see about that guy is if he's in the hospital.
Right, but he always seems to come out.
Yeah, he always does come. It's like revolving hospital door for Dick Cheney.
I know.
I wonder if he's gonna be if he's gonna get Obamacare now.
Shit. Yeah, I mean, the man, and he's saying that the torturers, the men who performed the torture were heroes, and he'd do it again. This man has no heart, nothing. His heart is plastic, I'm telling you.
No. His heart is robotic.
Well, yeah, that's
he doesn't have a real heart in that chest of his. It's completely battery operated.
It's funny how they bring him out periodically. They don't just let him die off and leave us alone.
They'll never do that. Same thing with like Clinton and all the other minions.
Well, whenever they need torture defended, they bring out Cheney,
Exactly. He should know.
Somebody.
God, there are all these weird fuckers, trying to, get me to, join their Skype and all that. And it's like, leave me the hell alone. Leave me alone.
I haven't got any of those. I have a friend that gets a lot of those. I have mine set, though, so that strangers can't call me.
I do too, and they still bleed through, and I don't understand this crap. And they're all like foreign names, so like I'm just gonna block this motherfucker, man. I don't know what the hell the deal with that is. Yikes!
Well,
leave me alone.
If you accept when they're gonna call you a terrorist.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh man.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, man, Dick Cheney is a wanker extraordinaire, along with Michael Chertoff. They're all in the same damn freaking group as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
Oh, I hate these people.
But I see people are still protesting, and that's a good sign. All across, I mean, San Francisco and Oakland here, they're still protesting police brutality.
I mean, that's okay if it would do any good. You know what I mean? I don't think it's going to do a damn thing. You think the people in Washington are going to listen to protest? That didn't work in the 60s.
That's true.
You know, I mean, they're just, oh, look at them out in the street there. Look at the plebes.
Yeah.
You know? The plebes are speaking.
You know, and then you go and the police are still being brutal on people, and I don't know how to stop it.
Yeah, it's yeah. Well, I mean, the liability insurance would be a good start.
I agree. I think that's the only thing that'll do it, because legislation, I mean, look at how many people have been arrested since the Supreme Court said we could video police doing their job, and they still keep arresting people even though they can't.
Right.
So, you know, laws don't matter. Nothing matters here, it doesn't seem like, unless it hits your pocketbook.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. That's what they're doing, you know. I've said it a million times already. They're nickeling and diming us to death, and the only time those bastards pay attention is if it's cost money. So
like that one case, where was it? Woman F-bombs police and gets rewarded $100,000 compensation. Did you see that?
No, what's up with that?
You know, let me see, where was it?
That's crazy.
Yeah, it says F-bomb police is political speech. A U.S. court ruled a woman who was arrested for swearing and raising a middle finger at law enforcers has been acquitted and awarded $100,000 in a settlement.
Damn.
Yeah, Amy Barnes, a well-known political activist in Marietta, Georgia, had her freedom of speech right violated when she was arrested for yelling curses at police in 2012, according to Cobb County State Judge Melody Clayton. The defendant's statements, although offensive to this court, clearly constitute political speech, Clayton wrote in her acquittal of Barnes, cited by the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. If there's a bedrock principle underlying the First Amendment, it is that government may not prohibit the expression of an idea simply because society finds the idea itself offensive or disagreeable. The court decision is mainly praised in online comments, and a number draw parallels to the recent lawsuits over police brutality, in which decisions were made in favor of the law enforcers. She's lucky to be alive. Had a black man done the same thing, he would be gunned down in self-defense, a comment on the Huffington Post. So, yeah, you know, and that $100,000 didn't come out of the cop's pocket or the police's pocket at all. It came out of the taxpayers.
That's correct.
Yeah, you know, we're paying for their mistakes. Nobody pays for my mistakes. Why should we be paying for theirs? It's nuts.
Well, at least the judge ruled correctly in that, in this ruling, and I'm glad to hear that. At least some judges out there still have their constitutional seatbelts on, and you know what I mean. And you know, it's good that little rulings like this trickle down. And shit, $100,000 for saying fuck. I mean, Kevin Blanche could get in on that action.
Oh shit, he'd be a millionaire in a day.
One word.
Yeah. This article goes on. I thought it stopped. It said Barnes was passing two police officers on her bicycle, interrogating a black man in 2012 when she screamed at the group, cop police suck, and fuck the police. The police went after the woman, arrested her, and held her in detention for around 24 hours, 6 of them in solitary confinement. Barnes was charged with disorderly conduct and abused words to incite an immediate breach of the peace. But these cops, I swear to God, they make up laws as they go along.
Yeah.
You know, it goes, in addition, the word suck, used as an epithet, is now common enough in modern society that it cannot reasonably provoke a threat of violence, Judge Clayton wrote. The defendant's other statement, explicit the police, was a fleeting epithet that was insulting and inappropriate, but did not create an immediate threat of danger or violence. The woman was acquitted in 2013, and this week has had a payment of $100,000 authorized in her lawsuit against the county. Barnes' attorney, happy with the lawsuit's outcome, described it as a great vindication of the law for everybody.
Yeah, and he got paid, too. Of course he's happy.
Oh, yeah. You know, he got a big chunk of that.
He doesn't give a shit about the law. As long as he gets paid.
Yeah. Yeah, litigation's about the only way when it starts hitting their pocketbooks. But then, like, this one, I read this one article where they say, no, that wouldn't work because if that was the case, then police wouldn't respond to calls. Now, well, I would think they would get fired then, and you would find someone that wasn't going to, didn't want to abuse people and hire them. So, you know, I mean, that's a ridiculous reason not to have liability insurance.
Yeah, I kind of like the article you were just reading because don't the cops, like, I almost want you to read that what they were charging her initially with, because it just seems like, no, your words are hurting me. Ew, it's, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Those cops are like, wouldn't you fuckers grow some balls or something?
Well, I would have asked.
I almost just, like, completely, like, lost it there.
Yeah, I would have said, well, show me that law, because I've never heard of it. I mean, being charged with disorderly conduct and abuse words.
Abuse words, that's it. Abuse words. Oh
to
my God! Don't abuse me with your words.
Yeah,
I'm a cop.
like they're saying that her words were an immediate breach of the peace. So that's exactly what it says.
That's,
you know,
hilarious. How is the peace breached by words? That's what I want to know. I mean.
Right.
You think a bird, like you say fuck, and then a bird flies away off the tree or something? I mean, ooh, I breached the peace. I mean, come on,
I know,
man.
it's crazy. That's what I mean by, you know, I would have said, well, show me that law, because I never heard of, you know, words being, you know, a terrorist act.
Yeah, I know. Well, that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to get everybody to accept this frame of mind. And, I mean, just... I don't know. I don't know. Back even 20 years ago, you could swear at a cop. I mean,
you can never be arrested. In fact, I don't think you can legally, and that's why she got that settlement.
Dude, she's lucky she didn't get her freaking brains blew out.
Right. The judge subjected the S and F words to linguistics analysts.
Linguistics.
Yeah. Analysts coming to a conclusion that they could not actually prompt an outbreak of violence or unrest. So
good. Well, I mean, it's true.
Mm-hmm. Well, you've always been able to cuss at the police. I mean, I've heard people cuss them up and down, sideways, you know, and they didn't get arrested for that. But now I guess it's an attack.
Right. Oh, you're verbally attacking me. Ooh.
And they left, they actually left what they were doing when they were interrogating this black man. They actually left him and went running after her on her bicycle.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, when she did that, she was riding past them.
Oh, and said, fuck the po-po.
Yeah.
Fuck the po-po, bitches. Funny.
Yes. Yeah. One of the people that commented says, "Leave me alone," and is killed. Oh, Eric Garner says, "Leave me alone," and is killed. This woman curses and flips the police off and gets paid.
Yeah. Wow. Something's wrong with this picture.
Mm-hmm. And it's crazy. And it just goes on and on and on. And these police stay on the force.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Fact. That's absolutely right.
Yeah. More and more abuses. And it's not, the blacks, I do believe that they do get harassed more than white people say. But still, there's white people being killed every day by them also.
Sure.
It's not a racist thing. It's just the police, period. There's a big problem there.
So, we had this big old protest, I guess, in D.C. I didn't hear a damn thing about it, really, other than there was a big march. I mean, I don't know. I haven't seen any pictures, really, of it.
In Washington?
Yeah, I haven't heard anything about it, really.
Yeah, there on what is it? I think it's RT. Yeah, RT has all kinds of pictures on it. It says protesters are taken to the streets by the thousands in cities across the U.S. to protest grand jury's decisions not to indict the white officers responsible for the 2 unarmed black men and demand police accountability. And there's lots of pictures. I mean, thousands of people are out in the streets still out here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Especially that one with Garner. I mean, his daughters have been up, leading a lot of the protests, and it's been mostly nonviolent, except for this one in Oakland where the protesters noticed these 2 undercover cops, and they had bandanas over their face, and I guess they were banging on windows and stuff, trying to cause trouble. And the protesters caught on them and started pointing at them, yelling, undercover cops, undercover cops. And one guy pulled one's bandana down, and they took him to the ground, and the other cop pulled his gun out and pointed it at protesters. And,
wait, the undercovers did?
Yeah. And all the protesters just kept yelling at him, undercover cops, and surrounding them.
Right.
And they called him backup.
They called backup. I got it.
But they were acting like protesters, and they were the ones that were banging on windows and stuff.
Sure, that's the agent provocateurs. They're every single where, and this is what they do. This is how they operate. And this,
and these were 2 highway patrolmen. Where it ended up, but
this is the exact reason why protesting doesn't work, is because you have these little wankers running around trying to start shit. We saw this in Seattle. We saw this I think there was a big protest in up in Canada where we saw this, and they got pictures of them and then posted them on the internet, and oh look, their cover was blown. I mean, they're everywhere. If you're at a protest, there's gonna be agent provocateurs. They were crawling all over Ferguson. I mean, we know this. It's absolutely. This is why protesting isn't going to work, because of these freaks that run around starting crap and trying to blame it on the people. And, frankly, I'm freaking sick of it. I'm sick of these people. I'm sick of their little, and the FBI does it with their little, with their little undercovers, and it's not good at all.
And I mean, at least people are doing something. I am glad about that. They're not just, accepting it. And from all these pictures, I mean, almost every city in Brooklyn they're having a big march, and here in LA and New York they're having them, and I mean and you look at the crowd, and it's interesting that it isn't mostly black. It's a wide range of people, and so you would think they would take notice, and yet they're still militarizing them.
Yes,
And
absolutely.
in 6th Avenue in New York City, the streets are just packed with people.
Well, they should be. I mean, I don't know. I mean, when this doesn't work, when the protesters don't work, when the protesting doesn't work, then what do we do? I mean, there's going to be just crazy mayhem and chaos in the streets. And people are just going to start burning their own little towns down. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. And I was reading one article where it said, they've changed their whole method of training the police and making them into warriors instead of police officers. And you keep hearing these captains going, well, okay, well, we're implementing new, we're sending them back for retraining and this and that. That's not going to change these cops.
No.
The bad ones.
No, retraining. No, it doesn't. And especially if you got somebody with thin skin that's going to go, oh my God, your words hurt me.
I know. Or shoot somebody because they cussed at you.
Right.
Yeah, I think they should take their guns away, period. Give them tasers or something like that, but take their guns away. Because
I don't know about that. I mean, I don't know. There was a cop here yesterday that was doing some kind of an investigation in someone's house, and I guess their dog attacked him. So there's another justification for shooting dogs.
Well, if you're in somebody's house, the dog's just doing what he's taught, or what a natural instinct is to protect the ones he loves.
Well, I mean, yes, on some level, but I guess the guy had been in the house talking to him already, and then you need to restrain your freaking dog.
Well, yeah.
I mean, then, you're going to have your dog attack, like, friends when they come over? No.
Right. It's not as if, like, we don't know the circumstances. We don't know if the cop was being abusive or not, but, you don't want your dog just attacking people.
No, and I think that's the case here. The owners obviously are irresponsible. It was a pit bull, too, of course.
And they get a bad name, and pit bulls are awesome dogs.
Yeah, because the frickin' owners are the ones that are not responsible, and it pisses me off. I just want to bitch slap these people up and down the street.
You can make a Chihuahua be mean and ferocious. It's all in who's bringing it up and
Absolutely.
How you treat that animal. If you're kicking it all the time and stuff, of course it's going to be like that.
Oh yeah, yup. That's a hot button issue with me. It really is.
I am too. I just the police are just trigger happy. Period. And other than this, I don't know. Like you said, I believe in liability insurance is the only way that's going to make them police themselves.
I think so too. And Jules and I were talking about it on Friday, and I really, really like her slant. Well, it's not even her slant. It's if you have two eyes in your head and two ears to hear with, to coin a Masonic term, you're able to see that. The family from the guy Michael Brown in Ferguson went to the UN and pleaded to the UN, and the UN is, and then couple that with the torture report coming out. And so now you got the UN going, maybe we have to intervene in the US because they're not taking care of themselves. Look, we've got to do some kind of intervention. And there we go.
Yeah.
Keep having these crises that crop up that, don't let it go to waste.
Yeah.
Have
Don't
the
let
UN
it
in
get
here.
crisis.
That's right. They're going to have the UN in here trying to make some decisions, and that, I think, is worse than all the cop abuses. Even if all the cops, decided to turn against the citizens, and then, of course, the UN comes in to save the day, that scenario is worse than...
Because then we'll have UN soldiers on every corner.
Yeah, that scenario is worse than random cop beatings in my book.
And you know what's funny is, the only time that it seems like Obama has addressed this issue was when he had those community heads, meeting. But that didn't accomplish anything.
Right.
Yeah.
Didn't do a damn thing now, did it? And it wasn't supposed to either.
Right.
I mean, seriously, it's not. He's doing his job. He's just not doing the job that the people supposedly put him in there for.
Mm-hmm.
He's doing the job that they want him to do.
Yeah. And then while they're showing, I seen another article that the Afghanistan wars cost us $1 trillion. Where are we getting this money? Print it up, I guess. And then they say that the war on Afghanistan. Now, I didn't know we were at war. I thought that ended when Bush went on that carrier and said, we won the war. But we're still over there. We're still spending money, and the war is supposed to end one day this month. Now, what do they? I don't get it. You schedule these. Okay, we're gonna end the war on this date. Okay, so but yet nothing changes. We're leaving 10,000 of our troops over there after the war's over, and going to be spending a lot more money over there. It's crazy. It doesn't make any sense.
Well, of course, and then we spent $1 trillion in just in Afghanistan alone, and what do? They just spent another $1.1 trillion to keep the government running for a year.
Yeah,
and then they put in under the rug a bunch of crap in that bill too, especially they just put anything they could under that freaking rug. When did the budget ever cost $1 trillion?
Every year it goes up.
Oh, every year it does go up, but it's never really cost $1 trillion for 1 year before, ever. I mean, how much crap are they putting under this freaking rug, dude? Seriously?
Well, it's mostly defense.
No, I think it's mostly, money that they are able to shove the hell out of this country. I think that's what they're doing. I think they're giving it to their buddies. I think they're funding stupid crap like Michelle Obama's lunch fucking program. You know what I'm saying? I mean, they're putting. I mean, I'm sure a lot of that's going to Obamacare and to get that rolling. I'm sure a lot of that stuff is going to go to things that have nothing to do with defense whatsoever. It's none of it's going to be used for infrastructure. None of it's going to be used for, I'm sure a lot of it's going to Homeland Security. I'm sure a lot of it's going to, the BLM to do their little deeds. That kind of thing.
Yeah, that's true. And will come up. Darn it. I was just reading U.S. government used the CIA torture report to heighten security and reinforce the idea of war on terror. Your chances of being killed by a terrorist are the odds are so astronomical. And yet here we're putting out trillions of dollars fighting who? Who is the enemy? No one really knows. Tell me what they look like, they
got towels on their heads and they go
Well, then why are so many Americans being charged with terrorism or cops, using terrorism
Exactly.
against us?
Yeah, it's a good question.
I mean, to be a terrorist, almost anything. Remember that speech that Rand Paul did? If you're missing a couple fingers, you're a terrorist. If you have burns on your hand, you could be arrested as a terrorist. If you have more than 7 days worth of food stored up, you could be. I mean, it's almost comical.
I guess I'm a terrorist.
Yeah.
I mean, come get me. Come on. I freaking dare ya.
Yeah. It says, it goes on, it says, U.S. is pushing the idea that the country is now under threat, that with police and Homeland Security on high alert because of expected reprisals from ISIS or Al-Qaeda over the CIA torture report. Well, okay, now look. Now that report did, they all know over there that we're torturing. All it did was bring it home to the people here. Everyone else knows about this, and we and most Americans are in the blind. So, it's no surprise to the people over in those countries that we are killing their people, innocent people and all.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what's making them pissed off over there. That's what's, I mean, look, think about it this way. If you had a foreign entity come onto your soil and start pulling a bunch of bullshit like we're pulling over there, droning and bombing and blaming it on the people that live there, you're gonna be doing the same damn thing they're doing. At least I know I would be.
Exactly.
I'd fight the invaders. Get the fuck out of our country. We don't want you here. Look what you've done over to our neighbor in Iraq. Look what you've done. I mean, they're stirring the pot, and it's pissing people off. And you know what? I don't blame those people for being pissed off.
Especially since we went over there under a lie.
False pretenses, yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, and so, I mean, we have created the terrorists. I mean, before we went over there, weren't having those problems. There weren't, terrorist threats or any of this. We have created it, and then we still put the blame on who? Anyone, everyone. It's just an excuse to invade a country, and, we never leave once we get there. And that's pitiful. I mean, we build big bases, and all that money it was supposed to go for, rebuilding Iraq. We haven't done anything. You watch, I watched a documentary on, just one of the hospitals we were supposed to rebuild and make right. And it was disgusting.
Well, the only thing that they have rebuilt is they're building new bases. They're not, giving the people any of that benefit. They're not building, anything except for us, for giant cathedrals of base.
Right. I don't remember what the guy's name was they put in charge of all of Iraq's money, all those millions and millions and millions of dollars, big pallets full of cash money, and where did all that money go?
Into someone's pocket. Yeah, I'll tell you where it all went. It's the same shit in Haiti. All this money was raised for rebuilding Haiti, and every single person is still living in tents there, even after, 10 years later? It hasn't been, 8 to 10 years at least? Same shit. And then where'd all that money go? To build their, governmental palaces of death? Same thing in Iraq. None of that money's going to the people.
And going for restructure, but why the logic there, I think, would be, why rebuild? We're still bombing them.
Right, exactly. Well, that's a pretty damn good point there. I would say that's probably the intention. I would bet any money that the intent is to never ever rebuild that place ever. They just want it all in ashes. It's whatever the Israeli directive is on this, and that's what they're following. And sure enough, this is what we're seeing.
Yeah. So okay, now. how many wars are we? We're still in Syria. We're still in Afghanistan. We're still in Pakistan. We're still in Iraq. You know, man, I don't know.
It's and we're getting ready to go into Iran. That's what they really ultimately want.
And why? You know, I mean,
well, I'll tell you why. The word starts with I and it ends with L. Israel. That's why it's their freaking directive, not ours, and it's their list that they want all these countries in ashes. Yeah, so that they can expand their little empire over there. That's what they want.
Yeah, I've never understood this relationship with Israel. It's still confusing to me, you know.
Well, I mean, the big question is, and this question was raised by a friend of mine this weekend, how come ISIS is running around and, you know, they're running around in Syria, now they're running around in Iraq and putting heads off of Christians and anybody else who doesn't want to convert to Islam, and but no, they're not messing with Israel now, are they?
Right. And we're still all these airstrikes. What was it? Just one of the missiles or the bombs that we're dropping over there cost like that. You know, what is it? $45,000?
Yeah, who's paying for that shit?
Yeah, we are.
Yeah,
you know, while we have homeless in the street, kids are going hungry with nothing to eat here, but we can pay for these missiles and stuff going over to bomb innocent people over there.
Right.
You know, you can't tell me those bombs aren't killing innocent people. There's no way.
That's right. Who's the real terrorist here?
Right. And that's, I don't know.
I mean, they've got all these policies that you can't fund terrorism. They got all these policies that they wrote on the damn books that anybody who aids and abets or funds terrorism is they're a terrorist. So
right.
Why aren't they getting arrested? Why aren't these people in the CFR and all these other like organizations becoming? They are the ones that are the terrorists. I mean, come on.
Yeah,
it's just nuts.
Yeah, Washington needs to be done away with. Period. You know,
it just needs restructuring from the ground up. Get back to the original reasons why it's there in the first place.
Term limits.
Everything. I mean, term limits, absolutely. Oh,
there isn't one branch in our government that is not corrupt. Not one.
Not one. Not one. Not one. You're right. It's right. It's gangrenous from the ground up.
Yeah, and you know, I don't remember reading anywhere in the Constitution about all these agencies that we have. We create an agency for every little thing that happens.
And czars. Look at all the czars.
Yeah.
Who's the ones that had czars before? Who's the one?
Oh, yeah, Hitler. Yeah, and the Nazis.
No, it wasn't the Nazis. It was communists. It was Stalin and Lenin. They were the ones who appointed all these czars.
I thought Hitler had czars, too.
No, well, Zitler. That was funny. Well, it was, czar is a Russian word.
Mm-hmm.
So, C-Z-A-R.
Yeah, I've always questioned that ever since I first started hearing czars being appointed to this and that, and then Homeland Security. I mean, you right away go back to those old movies that you used to watch that use those terms. Why are we using those terms here?
Well, because it's psychological operations on the American public. It's to get us used to it. I mean, who was our first Homeland Security chief?
Bush, wasn't it? Yeah.
Oh, no. It was Michael Chertoff.
Oh, that's right.
Russian.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's make no mistake where they're going with all this. I mean, yeah.
I mean, it would be clear to a blind man.
Yeah, and it probably is clear to most blind people, I'm sure. All they got to do is just, open their ears and listen to what's going on. I mean, it's so obvious. And then you got to have a little bit of history under your belt too, which I'm kind of remiss, I admit, about having history under my belt, but I certainly do try to pay attention to these things, and it's worthwhile to pay attention. I mean,
Right, it is worthwhile. You know, in school, I did not like history. I hated history. I thought it was so boring. But then, too, we weren't ever taught the real history.
Right, that's why it was boring, because
Mm-hmm.
you in your guts that this shit's fake. How could this shit be real?
Right. How could any one country be so perfect? I mean, you know, all our textbooks have been revised to where we are the heroes. We are the good guys. When in reality, you know, a lot of people have a hard time facing the reality that we are not the good
Right,
guys.
I mean, how is Iraq and Afghanistan different from the Native Americans'
Mhm.
plight? I mean, it's not.
Yeah.
There's no freaking difference whatsoever, honestly. And now we're just going and doing that in other countries that aren't even ours. But you know, I mean, really, I mean, throughout time, since the dawn of man, you know, there's been wars and stuff to fight for land and conquering and subjugating, and I mean, this is not new. None of this is. So, I mean...
Yeah, it just keeps repeating. If you don't know history, you're bound to repeat it, and it does. It just keeps...
does.
Yeah, a rotation.
Mm-hmm. And, I don't know if we're ever going to achieve that sort of peace that people are supposed to kind of live under when there's, you know, respect and trust and... But if you have, like, out-of-control governments like we've got, no way is that end ever going to be achieved.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, I was just glancing over that article that I started to read on the Move.
Okay.
Oh, okay, on the CIA torture report.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, and goes, that's a big topic of conversation right now on both sides of the debate. One side wants really to protect the information in this 6,300-page report, but you also have the reality of the conversation that we have known a lot more, and in fact, we have known even worse for that 10 years now. The Oscar-winning documentary Taxi from the Dark Side, which came out in 2007 and 2008, went into graphic detail about the methods and the people involved, the level of depravity of the torture in the Bagram Air Base in Afghanistan. So it's not as if this is new. However, Dianne Feinstein came out on live TV yesterday, and this was not reported across the media. They just barred these two comments that she made, that the CIA has spent $40 million to keep this report from being released. And she also said on air with Wolf Blitzer that they have been hacked not once, not twice, but 3 times. Data has been taken from their computers, Senate staffers, and people working on compiling this report. That is petty big news to me, because that shows that there is an actual turf war going on in Washington. As Feinstein also pointed out, if they waited till January, she believes that this report would not have been released with Republican-controlled Senate, and I happen to agree with her on that particular point. So she has done what she has done because of timing. And then it goes on, CNN is saying the torture helped to find bin Laden. What's your take on this? And CNN is really pushing this line. Like, CNN's pushing for, you know, torture and to hide the torture and stuff. And they're trying to, from what I gather, they're trying to make them release more of the pictures and stuff of the torture. But like I say, we're the only ones that have been blinded to what we're really doing over there.
Well, look, if they start releasing pictures and video of stuff that they've done, that is a major psychological operation on the American people. Just that move right there.
Mm-hmm. And that's the whole thing. You know, these other countries, I mean, how is it going to anger them, this report coming out, any more than they're already angered at what we're doing over there? You know, not just in the prison, black prisons and stuff, but what we're actually doing to all their citizens. This isn't going to inflame them more. A report's not going to make them any more angry. It's the bombing of their innocent people in their towns and stuff that's going to make them angry.
Well, yes. That's what we were just saying. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Keep going with that.
Okay. Okay. They are pushing two lines right now, not just picking on CNN, but as we are talking about them, the same that the torture helped to get information in bin Laden's courier al-Kuwati and was gleaned from torture, and that helped to capture and kill Osama bin Laden. The other side, the CIA, is hanging the whole story on this courier of bin Laden's, and that the story is very flimsy to begin with. There is no photo or video evidence that Osama bin Laden was actually killed in that raid, and I agree with that. I think he died years before. Nobody, nothing. So it's all disappeared, vaporized after the raid. In a way, this Senate debate is helping to show up there has been a bin Laden story, and they are working very hard to do that. CNN is also pushing the idea that the country is now under threat. All our enforcement and Department of Homeland Security are on high alert because of the reprisal attacks from ISIS or Al-Qaeda because of the release of this report. The security state hasn't lost its step with the so-called crisis with the release of the report. They are using it to heighten security again and to reinforce this idea of war on terror. That says it in a nutshell. You know, that does. It's all, the whole war on terror is just for our psyche. They got to keep it alive and keep refreshing it with more and more, you know, reports and stuff. So,
absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, it says, after denying the fact for years, a former Polish president acknowledged that Poland had let the CIA run a secret prison on its territory. Do you think other countries will come forward about black sites? Possibly, but I'm not sure. It depends on how hard the media or the press, what's left of the free press, is willing to press on this particular issue. What I think is more interesting is that the quid pro quo is for a country like Poland to be hosting a CIA torture site, or a country like Bulgaria or Romania. What's the quid pro quo? Is the U.S. paying them to host this facility, or are they getting something in exchange in terms of commercial, industrial help, or aid, or loans, or something like this?
It's both.
Yep. That to me is where the real scandal is with regard to the black shore sites, not just the sites themselves. What do they have to do? What does the U.S. give them to allow them to say, yes, we'll host your black site on our shore? Yeah, right there says a lot of it, too.
Oh, yes. Well, we all know, like, all this backdoor ass kissing and, you know, and all that crap, you know. We know they do all this. And, I mean, there's no other reason to allow something like that to be on your soil other than that.
Yeah, you know, some of the comments there are interesting, too. One of them is, war on terror is a joke. Make the U.S. stop interfering in every country's concerns, and terrorism would drop by 99%. The U.S. is terrorist number one in the world. They are not even hiding it, but attacking and bombing countries as if they would own the world. Make them stay at home, and terrorism will go extinct. It's quite odd seeing so many envious people from other countries spew hatred towards the U.S. of America. A funny thing is, they are using American websites such as Google and Facebook, Twitter, and Tumblr to do so. Yeah, I think the first comment was right, 100%. The war on terror is a joke. And if the U.S. would stop interfering with other countries and come back home where they belong and take care of their own, terrorism would be nil. Well, maybe not nil now that we've gone over and killed so many other people.
It's not going to be nil because of that. I mean, look at all the heaping evil that we've wrought over there. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of someone's got to atone for this complete pure evil. I mean, Hitler didn't hold a candle to these assholes. That's
no kidding.
All the crap that they're pulling right now, and all the crap that they've pulled the whole time. I mean, they propped Hitler up. They're the ones that, you know what I mean. So let's kind of get back. And while you were gone, I actually ripped Fink Stinky a freaking new one. But let's probe into her. We were talking about this some more this weekend, and I was talking with a friend of mine, and he was saying that if you look at Stinky Slime, Stinky Stein, Slime Stein, whatever, everybody knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
She's playing both sides of the coin here. And it's ridiculous because now she's like going, oh, look, I'm getting so upset, and look at my feathers rumple. Bad CIA. She's playing that card on us now. But while when all this stuff was actually happening and going on, she is on the subcommittee on defense, and she's
the one that's been keeping it secret.
She's been keeping it secret. She's been writing, on the committee to write the documents to what happens, and she's the one that sweeps the crap under the rug, and she's the one that put all this crap in the first place. Let's look at all the committees this Slimestein is on, okay, shall we? She's on the Committee on Appropriations. She is on a subcommittee on Agriculture, Rural Development, the Food and Drug Administration, and related agencies. So she's on the FDA committee. Let's see what else she's on. She's on the subcommittee on Commerce, Justice, Science, and related agencies, and so we know that DARPA is underneath that little umbrella there, don't we? She is on the subcommittee on defense, like I just said. She is on the subcommittee on energy, water, and development. She's on it's energy and water development. She's the chairperson for the subcommittee on energy and water department. So, yeah, and she's in California, and there is a drought over there. Subcommittee on, she's the chair on that water department for you guys there, Zorie.
Yeah.
Good luck with that one. Let's see. She's the subcommittee on Interior, Environment, and related agencies. So there's the EPA. Okay.
This woman's got her fingers into everything.
That's what we were saying. She is so neck deep. I mean, her nostrils are the only thing that is sticking out of this pile of shit she's in, right? So,
she's after our guns.
I mean, well, I'm not done yet. She's
okay.
She's on the subcommittee on Interior, Environment, and related agencies. I just read that. It's EPA. Subcommittee on Transportation, Housing, and Urban Development, and related agencies. So HUD, and all the other ones that come under that. She is also on the committee on the Judiciary. That is the judges.
Yep.
All right. She's also, here we go. Here's a little bell ringer, ringy ding dingy. She's on the subcommittee on crime and terrorism.
What?
What? I'm not kidding. I'm looking at her right here in blue. She's on the subcommittee on ringy dingy dingy Immigration, border security, and refugees. So,
Now, where does this woman get time to do anything?
where does she get time to wipe her asshole? I don't know.
Shit.
So,
A shorter list would be what she's not involved in.
Exactly. I mean, this is a freaking joke. We know who you are, okay? I mean, come on. She's also, here we go. I've got the other alphabet agency in there. She's also, I'm not done yet. She's subcommittee on privacy, technology, and the law.
What?
Oh, yes, that's another subcommittee she's got under her illustrious belt that goes all the way down to her toes.
She's involved in more than Obama is.
Oh, my God, dude, it's slime stink, and I have to laugh. I'm sorry, I'm laughing. She's on Committee on Rules and Administration, so that is... What does that mean? That means, like, stuff that the president does. Is that not right?
Mm-hmm. This woman.
And the last one, the last little committee that Diane Slimestein's on is called Select Committee on Intelligence, and she's the chairwoman. Select Committee on Intelligence. That means CIA.
Exactly.
She is the fucking chairwoman for that committee. Okay, and that, really, I'm glad they listed that last, because that last one's the cherry on fucking top of this whole thing.
I mean, I live here and I didn't know she was involved in all that.
Oh, she is so far up. It's like Bill Hicks said, sucking Satan's cock.
Yep. God. I know. Is she ever going to retire? This woman has been, I don't even know how many years she has been in.
Yeah, she doesn't hold a candle to freaking Carl freaking Levin. Carl Levin, he just gave his farewell address, I think it was Friday. La la la, bye-bye, skeleton. Now his freaking wife is in there. Yikes.
Yeah, that's one thing too. Where are these wives
Wayne
coming in
County. Yeah, I don't know, because they're getting us used to the idea of royalty here. You know what I mean? I mean, in Michigan, in Wayne County, thank God I'm out of that freaking county. He's royalty. Actually, yeah, man. He's in the district, part of Wayne County, part of Washington County. It's retarded. And now his wife.
Now, how can anyone believe in government? How can anyone think that this government isn't corrupt from top to bottom?
Yeah. Yeah, and look at Slime Stinky. I mean, she is come on. I mean, yep. From every single alphabet agency, except for, I didn't hear really well, yeah, I did. The IRS is definitely in there. She's related she has something to do with every single alphabet agency, pretty much that's A to Z there, what I just read. Especially after they all say, and related agencies after each and every one of these things that I read. So,
and then
I
McCain,
mean,
and why certain ones are even, and how they keep getting put into office is usually because no one runs against them.
Well,
and it's a shoo-in. They don't even have to do anything. They
it's just
continue on.
Yeah, just all you got to do is just lay down in the sun chair next to the pool, prop your feet up, and you're already there. It's ridiculous.
like Herger here in California. He was in office for almost 30 years. No one ever ran against him, ever. And finally someone did, and they won. But, I mean, these guys that run unopposed...
Term limits are essential.
Essential. That and get rid of lobbyists. How we let it evolve to where corporations can buy votes is beyond me. I don't even remember. I can't even figure out when this lobbying became legal, a legal way of bribing. If we paid, a senator for something we wanted to get passed through, we would be in jail.
That's right.
But yet, lobbyists do this legally.
I know, I know. Well, they're pushing the politicians to do illegal shit,
Right.
basically.
And not to
And they're
be
getting
for the
paid
people.
in the back door for it. I mean, we know how this is working now, and there's very, very simple things out there that we could do to stop all this. And
What?
well, I mean, I'd say Brandon Tuberville's idea of taxing Wall Street at freaking just little 1% would be a good start. And then, once things start, the coffers start getting padded again, we could start literally doing things on a local level to these people.
Localism is hard. I mean, we've given Congress so much power that anything we try and do to regain, our Congress, they'd make a law against it.
Well, I think we have to do away with a lot of stuff. The solutions are simple. They make it complicated.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? It's absolutely, it's an illusion. It's the dog and pony show. It's what's behind the curtain. It's real simple. There's a little fucking dwarf back there, dude, controlling the whole thing. All you gotta do, you know what I mean? If you can just see what's behind there, then
a lot of that's been brought out though, but people, they've already been so brainwashed that even if they see it, they can't comprehend what it means.
Right. Yeah, and that's the sad part right there, honestly. And I think you got it right there. I don't know. I don't know.
I mean, coming up
live on this freaking planet in absolute harmony without having we could leave each other alone in peace, let's say. We can totally achieve that.
Yeah, we could very easily just bring our troops home and leave the rest of the world to do for themselves and we do for ours.
Exactly.
Should be doing.
It's not hard.
But it won't happen because.
And we can rein in these damn corporate assholes. We can, just exactly. It's real. The solutions are real. They're unattainable because we think that they are. Or not we per se as us and our listeners, but, the average zombie out there.
Right. Well, we need to do away with the term tinfoil hats, and anyone who thinks outside of the box is crazy. And I think that is kind of going away a little bit, but
as they reveal themselves, it just seems like they don't really care anymore if anybody sees it anyway. They're just going to continue to do what they're doing.
Right.
So
they're very blatant about it now, and because they know they have so much power and people are so brainwashed, and they make up all these stories and put it in as news to keep these brainwashed people brainwashed to where, and then the no empathy, that's the thing that kills me. We're over there bombing, killing millions of people, and it doesn't seem to affect the American citizen at all.
Well, it doesn't. It doesn't affect a lot of people. There's that mentality that if I don't look at it or I don't see the news or I'm not paying attention, it doesn't affect me. It doesn't affect my little sphere of existence. And I know people that are close to me that I'm friends with that literally say that. And I mean, what do you do?
Yeah, I don't get involved in politics, or I don't follow politics.
Well, no, if I don't pay attention, the politics doesn't bother me, and it doesn't affect me, and I'm like, well,
but it does.
But I said, and I think Jules brought this up one time. Even I remember, just because you can't see the air doesn't mean it's not being effective.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Doesn't mean we're living in fear because we're paying attention to all this stuff. Absolutely not. It's just good that we are throwing out there energy to talk about it and have a logical discussion.
Yeah, did you see? They passed it in California. I don't think it was nationwide, but now they can, even though they've been doing this all along, now they can legally uh, abstract all of our emails, our telephone calls, and all that legally now and pass it forward to police departments with no warrants. Before, there was supposed to be a warrant, even though they didn't do it, but now it's a law that they can take all your information, glean it all, and pass it on to law enforcement for investigations. That just passed.
Passed where?
In California. Now, I'm not sure if it was a nation. I don't think it was a nationwide thing. I'm trying to find the article because
yeah, you should, because
yeah, if my browser froze up completely.
Well, here I've got something that sort of kind of relates to that, sort of.
Okay.
And while you look at for that, professor here says, Elf on the Shelf conditions kids to accept the surveillance state. This is out of Toronto. Could there be something more sinister behind the little elf sitting on a shelf who, that rhymed, who returns to the North Pole each night? Yes, says Laura Pinto, a digital technology professor at the University of Ontario Institute of Technology. She recently published a paper titled, Who's the Boss? On the doll, saying the idea of it, reporting back to Santa each night on the child's behavior, sets the children up for dangerous, uncritical acceptance of power structures, according to InsideHoughton.com. This is from her paper. When children enter the play world of the elf on the shelf, they accept a series of practices and rules associated with the larger story. This, of course, is not unique to the Elf on the Shelf. Many children's games, including board games and video games, require children to participate while following a prescribed set of rules. The difference, however, is that in other games, the child role plays a character, or the child imagines herself within a play world of the game, but the role play does not enter the child's real world as part of the game. As well, in most games, the time of play is delineated while the game goes on, and the play to which the rules apply typically does not overlap with the child's real world. Man, I don't know about that. Yeah, I don't know. Here, let me keep going on this. You're teaching kids a bigger lesson, which is that it's okay for other people to spy on you. You're not entitled to privacy, says the Toronto Star. She calls the elf an, quote, an external form of non-familiar surveillance, unquote, and says it's potentially conditioning children to accept the state of acting that way too. If you grow up thinking it's cool for elves to watch me and report back to Santa, well, then it's cool for the NSA to watch me and report back to the government, according to Pinto. Others concur with Pinto's theory. It's a little creepy, this idea that the elf is watching you all the time. Emma Waverman, a blogger with Today's Parent, tells the paper. She also doesn't like the story that uses a threat, nice and naughty lists to produce good behavior. It makes the motivation to behave something that's external, she says. If I'm not proud, or if the elf's not around, do they act crazy? Children potentially cater to the elf on the shelf as the other, rather than engaging in and honoring understandings of social relationships with peers, parents, teachers, and real-life others, Pinto writes. It's worth noting that Pinto doesn't object to the elf on the shelf's Jewish counterpart. Check this out. The mense on a bench, or menished. I don't even know what the hell this word is, yo. The menished on the bench, whatever that is, which she characterized as benign. Unlike the elf, the Menich does not report to anyone at night, but stays put, watching over the Hanukkah menorah. And the paper reports. Holy shit.
Damn.
What the fuck are these fucking Jews doing now? That's what I gotta say to that. Come on! Elf on a shelf. Medic on a bench. I mean, what the fuck's going on around here? Really? Oh my god. You gotta be freaking kidding me. But, I mean, obviously that woman was pretty much right on, so, I mean, come fucking on. They just get, they're getting everybody used to this, and it's by increments. I mean, it's not like it's going to change overnight. It's going to be just incremental. It's, oh man, that just...
For the children.
It is for the children. I mean, we already had, wasn't there like some Teddy Ruxpin thing, I think I remember, where it was spying on kids?
Yeah.
I can't remember if that's accurate or not. I know that was like telling stories, or it was some bear that had a camera in it or some shit like that. Can't remember. But this is going to be par for the course. Now every fucking toy is going to have little cameras in it. Now everything is going to have, you know what I mean? Going to report back. The PlayStations already do. And they've got to name this thing Elf on a Shelf. Because, oh, look, you leave it there, because they can't really get anything if the kid's playing with the elf and throwing it around the room. You know what I mean? It's just, you know, so they need a steady base. Elf on a shelf. That stays on the shelf.
Yeah.
Did you ever find your thing?
No, I was still glowing. I know where it was now. My page keeps freezing up on me really bad.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. And, I can't find it.
Oh, wait, I forgot to read the last line of that. It says, according to the paper, 6 million Elf on the Shelf dolls and books have been sold in the last 8 years.
How many?
6 million in the last 8 years.
Wow.
That was an important sentence that I freaking, thank God I saw that before I got off of that story. Yeah, that was significant.
Wow.
Wow, 6 million in 8 years. I don't ever remember Elf on a Shelf being like that latest Christmas craze thing. See how it creeped in there and nobody knew it was around for 8 years until I just said that? It's one of those creep in type, let's get in there and, perhaps they won't pay attention. And until we just read that, I don't think anybody was aware of that. I certainly wasn't.
No, I wasn't either.
Elf on a Shelf, baby. Do not get that as a Christmas present.
Yeah.
Let's see. Alright, let's go back here, I guess. Crazy crap. And he's not even cute if you look at the darn picture. Stupid ass elf.
Yeah, they're attacking the children. I mean, hardcore. You know.
Yeah.
From chemtrails to surveillance. You know, nothing matters to these people. I mean, they have no morals or empathy or anything. They're all psychopaths. And some people, I don't know, they'll watch their speeches and stuff and come away and repeat what they think they heard instead of what they actually heard.
Right.
Double speak.
Yeah, that's double speak. There you go.
Yeah, and I don't see how people don't get, whenever there's an interview with a senator or any of them, they never answer the question. Never. They go so far around it, it's totally lost.
Right. And I'm just going to keep bringing it back here because it's funny. Well, no, it's not funny, actually. Um, so we've got. No, I just screwed up my whole thing. Oh, man. Well, it doesn't matter. It's Dianne Feinstein's on that subcommittee anyway of tech and privacy. So Elf on the Shelf has been around since Dianne Feinstein's been on the subcommittee. Hey, I just made a connection there.
Yep.
It's Dianne Feinstein watching everybody.
Yeah. You know, there's a few states now that are contemplating making it illegal to video police, too. That's starting to take effect.
What is it?
A few states. I think there's like 3 or 4 states, and I don't remember which ones. I think it just said 3 or 4. But they're thinking about making it illegal for us to video law enforcement while they're doing their jobs.
Well, wait a minute. The Supreme Court said that it's not illegal to film the
right.
I mean, that's a Supreme Court decision there. So, I mean, I don't know if the states can rule that. Do you know about that? I mean, I'm not sure.
I don't know how that would affect.
How does that work?
There's state laws and then there's federal, but I always thought that federal trumped state.
It does. Really, and constitutionally it does, but everywhere which way else it doesn't. In their brain.
Yeah. You know, it's just it's creepy.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, what law it doesn't really matter because law enforcement does what makes up their own laws as they go along. And they get, you know, they don't get punished or anything. In fact, people are in prison now from cops just making up laws in their heads.
Coop said that in the chat room, he said Massachusetts is already illegal to video the cops. So apparently...
So I guess, yeah. Yep. I didn't think any of them had passed it, but... So wouldn't that really be... No, it wouldn't be an ordinance.
Well, yeah, it would have to be, I think.
Yeah, because you can't...
You can't make this... Well, I mean, he said Massachusetts, so that's a state thing then.
Right. But you have no... you know, you know you're out in public, and if you're out in public, it can't be privacy. So what basis, I wonder, are they putting this on? That, you know, I mean, so many, if it wasn't for videos coming out, so many more people would be in prison because of cops lying and stuff. So, I don't know, a lot of the law enforcement are dropping the camera on the police officer's uniform now.
Right.
And 2, look, is it really going to help anything having those videos on them? Because look, we watched Garner begging for his life, and it didn't stop him, and they were being videoed, and everyone's seen the video, and still nothing has happened to the police. So what good are the videos going to be anyway?
Well, they're not, obviously. And then, so Coop is saying in the chat room again that Massachusetts say it's covered under wiretapping laws. And yes, he says this is, of course, bullshit.
Well, wiretapping, you have the presumption of privacy when you're talking on a telephone.
Well, they have to come up with probable cause, supposedly, which, if you're the NSA, that doesn't exist. Mm-hmm. Fourth Amendment is pretty much gone anyway, so I think that's where these quote-unquote wiretapping laws are operating under right now.
But I don't see how wiretapping could have anything to do with when you're out in public. You do not have the assumption of privacy in any way, shape, or form.
Well, if you're Elf on the Shelf, you don't have expectation of privacy in the home either.
Well, they already have that through their TV and everything. They can video you. I mean, turn it on and watch you. Like that one guy read an article. He bought a new TV, and after reading the 46-page pamphlet that came with it, he's been afraid to turn it on, and he has a blanket over it.
See, that's the thing, man. I mean, if you're really reading the stuff that you're buying, reading about it, you gotta read that stuff cover to cover, guys.
Yeah.
Then you'll see. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if he should fucking get it out of his house, because the mic's still on.
They can still listen.
I mean, take it back to the damn store and get your money back, man. Get one of the old-fashioned ones like I got.
Yeah. I mean, think of all the ways that you are watched every single day of your life. Even in your home, even if you don't leave your home for a whole day, if you have one of the new TVs, okay, there it goes. If you have a cell phone in your home, they can turn it on and listen.
Laptops,
if you have a computer, everything. There is, unless you're out in the middle of the woods, which I'm not sure you're even safe from not being watched there because you have drones up in the sky.
Well, satellites and you name it.
Right. I don't think there's anywhere you could be alone completely.
They got the satellites where they can focus in on a dime from way the hell out of the, you know what I mean? It's way up there.
Nowhere to hide.
So,
and that's another reason why people just accept it. It's technology. What are you going to do? Everybody uses cell phones.
Sure, the drones see through walls. Sure, the satellites see through walls. Oh, well, hey.
That was proven a few years ago in New York when they had that truck driving through New York, looking through walls and looking through cars, looking through steel to see people hidden in compartments and stuff.
They've been able to do that for a long time, though, really. Yeah. I mean, they've been doing that for quite a while.
I'd like to know what the health is on some of those people that were first out there driving those vans that could, what their radiation, if they've all died of cancer yet.
Oh, I'm sure.
It's just like the highway patrol and cops that used radar guns. They were all getting cancer from the radar guns.
Yep, prostate cancer. I mean, because they hold it between their legs. Without a doubt, that's the absolute case. I don't know if they've got protectors in there now. I mean, I have no idea.
Yeah. I was just glancing over this thing, and this person has a good point. They believe that every single law passed should have an expiration date, which it should, because they stay on the books forever, and if they really want to catch you on something, there's a law somewhere that you have broke.
Sure.
Yeah, 3 to 5 years or whatever, and then just have it come up like the Patriot Act and all those, although they just keep, approving it. But, yeah, I don't know. We're in deep doo-doo, and it just keeps getting deeper and deeper, and it's just like engulfing us.
Yeah. We're becoming unable to breathe.
Literally.
There's oh man, I don't know. Let's see, we only got like a little over half hour left.
Yeah, let me see if I can still find it. Where'd it go? Dane had a letter to the editor.
Oh, he did?
Oh, there it is, yeah. Okay, let's see. There we go, I found it.
Cool.
Go to that. Okay, sections. I just read it last night. Letters to the editor. I was surprised that they put it in there. Okay, let's see. Move down. Faces, editor. Where are you now? I mean, it was even a reference to it on the front page. And wow, when I just don't see it now. Let's go up to search here. That was weird because I just read it last night. Okay, and search. Oh, okay. Nope, that's not it. Nope, they didn't. Huh. That's weird because just last night, don't tell me that. Wow. Okay, never mind.
Is it gone?
Unless it comes up, and it was about their coverage of our protests. And now I don't see it.
That's weird.
That is weird. Yep. Huh. I knew I should have copied it.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
That's what happens.
Oh, wait. I found it. Okay.
Oh, yay.
Yeah, here it is. And it is there. Dane Whittington, Bella Vista. Unfortunately, Silas Lyons and the Record Searchlight did exactly what we would expect the corporate media to do, and exactly what we have seen them do in the past. Complete spin and omission in regard to the subject of climate engineering. Why did Lyons call me the leader of these citizens? Does he believe those in attendance can't think for themselves? Virtually every activist sign at the protest had a geoengineering or climate engineering statement on it. The climate science community and most governments are considering the possibility of climate engineering, although those discussions are, at this point, in the future tense. Lyons and the Searchlight completely omitted any and all science terms from the hit piece they put out in order to uphold their position as the gatekeepers of legitimate information. Our media seems to be well aware of who pays them in the end, and their completely immoral journalism is a testimony of that fact. So that was a good piece. Yeah, because for one thing, the protest was buried in an editorial, the second of a part of an editorial. They never mentioned geoengineering. They never even mentioned the word chemtrails, and it just proved our point, you know. But I was surprised that they put this letter to the editor in there.
Wow, that's good that they at least posted that.
Yeah. Huh. Yep. And they do. They're so derogatory. You know, they're if they mention it at all, it's to lead it's the tinfoil hat syndrome.
Well, here's the thing. And here's a big thing. When people get together to protest geoengineering and things like that, things that they don't want to admit, it's completely ignored. When people get together to protest something like police brutality, then all the cameras are there, everybody's talking about it, you know, millions of people show up, you know what I mean? Still things never get done about the thing that they're protesting, which is true to either side.
To spin on it.
Right. But where one gets ignored, the other one is exploited.
Right. Yeah.
For nefarious purposes.
People get sick of hearing it, and then they ignore it.
Right. So that there's a complete blackout on the geoengineering protest and a spotlight on the police brutality protest going on. So that's all by design too. Why is one protest more important than another? It's not.
That's more important. Like there's people being killed across the nation by police every day, just about. But yet they only pick, you know, the ones that will.
They cherry pick them. They cherry pick them. They're still not talking about that kid from Cleveland. Still.
Right, that 10-year-old or 12-year-old.
Yeah, that right there is blatant, and that's what they should have capitalized on immediately. But no, they didn't. So, and it just proves our point here. And it one gets paid attention to while the other's completely ignored, and they do an efficient job doing that too. You know, they completely ignore the geoengineering protest over here, and they do a real good job of not, you know, documenting it in any way, especially if they don't mention geoengineering or chemtrails or anything like that in the article as it's been reported on page 13.
Yeah. Yeah, and you know, there's no notice to, and I've been to every march they've had here, and they are growing. exponentially. I mean, I can remember the first protest we did on this, we had maybe 50 people. And then it's been growing and growing and doubling every time. So more and more people are waking up, but it doesn't seem to be enough.
This is interesting. The lights go out briefly at the White House and the State Department.
Oh, yeah? When?
Just this morning, it says CBS's Mark Nolan reports that the lights went out briefly at the White House this morning. Just had a power outage at the White House, lasted only a few seconds, perhaps premature government shutdown. Oh, no, that's just some guy who is joking on his little Twitter. But I guess there was he said and State Department ? So whatever. I guess I just interrupted you. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's okay. That's okay. I just glanced over this one thing, and it's on Blacklisted News. 10 George Orwell quotes that predicted life in 2014 in America.
Ooh, that should be interesting.
Yeah, George Orwell ranks among the most profound social critics of the modern era. Some of his quotations, more than half a century old, show the depth and understanding an enlightened mind can have about the future. Number 1, in our age, there is no such thing as keeping out of politics. All issues are political issues, and politics itself is a mass of lies, evasions, folly, hatred, and schizophrenia. Though many in the modern age have the will to bury their heads in the sand when it comes to political matters, nobody can only concern themselves with the proverbial pebble in the shoe. If one is successful in avoiding politics, at some point the effects of the political decisions they abstained from participating in will reach their front door more often than not. By that time, the person has already lost whatever whisper of a voice the government has allowed them. All war, propaganda, all the screaming and lies and hatred comes invariably from people who are not fighting. Examining the nightly news in the run-up to almost any military intervention will find scores of talking heads crying for blood to flow in the streets of some city and name of which they just learned to pronounce, Iraq and Afghanistan. Once the bullets start flying, those that clamor for war will still be safely on set, bringing you up to the minute coverage of the carnage while their stock is in Raytheon climbs. And that's true, remember would be a war here, then would be a war there, then would be another war during 1984, his book. It says, war against a foreign country only happens when the moneyed classes think they are going to profit from it. And then it's pretty self-explanatory, and while it may be hard to swallow, it's certainly true. And it takes is a quick look at who benefited from the recent wars waged by the United States to see Orwell's equip take life. Number 4, the very concept of objective truth is fading out of the world. Lies will pass into history. Okay, and it goes, the most prized books are a collection of history books from around the world. I have an Iraq book that recounts the glory of Saddam Hussein's victory over the United States in 1991. I have books from 3 different nations claiming that one of their citizens was the first to fly. As some of the more powerful nations in the world agreed to let certain facts be forgotten, the trend will only get worse. History is written by the victor, and the victor will never be asked if he told the truth. And remember what his job was? Wilson's job was in 1984 was to change history, to go through all history and take out anything that did not go with Big Brother.
Winston.
Yeah, Wilson. Winston. Oh. Yeah, Winston, you're right. Okay. Number 6, journalism is printing what someone else does not want printed. Everything else is public relations. And then the comment, Make no mistake about it, if an article does not anger someone, it is nothing more than a public relations piece. Most of what passes for news today is little more than an official sounding advertisement for a product, service, or belief. Okay, 7. In real life, it is always the avil that breaks the hammer, the avil that breaks the hammer. In every conflict, it is not the side that can inflict the most damage, but the side that can sustain the most damage that ultimately prevails. History is full of situations in which a military won the battle but lost the war.
That's a big deal, that one.
It is.
Because Emperor Hirohito said that he would never, ever invade the United States because there would be a gun behind every blade of grass. Mm-hmm. And that is our anvil, that we are the anvil of this country.
And they're trying to take that away from us.
Right, and they will be the hammer that breaks on the anvil, which is exactly the idea there.
Yeah. So, okay, number 8. The nationalist not only does not disapprove of aristocrats committed by his own side, but he has a remarkable capacity for not even hearing about them. Haditha? Oh boy, I can't read these names. There's a whole list of them. It says these names probably don't ring a bell. No kidding. But it is almost a certainty that the reader is aware of the brutality that occurred in Benghazi. The main difference is that in the first 4 incidents, those committing the acts or brutality were wearing an American flag on their shoulder. What? Okay, I have to go back and read their names. Let's see.
Not really. I mean, because that. Oh,
I see. Yeah. Okay, I got it. Yeah. Okay. Number 9. Threats to freedom of speech, writing, and action, though often trivial in isolation, are cumulative in their effect and, unless checked, lead to a general disrespect for the rights of citizens. Every day there is a new form of censorship or a new method of forcing people into self-censorship. And the people shrug it off because it only relates to a small minority. By the time the people realize their ability to express disapproval has been completely restricted, it may be too late. That brings us to Orwell's most haunting quote. If you want a picture on the future, imagine a boot stomping on a human face forever.
That's right.
Once the people are indoctrinated with nationalistic beliefs and the infrastructure to protect them from some constantly changing and ever-expanding definition of an enemy in place, there is no ability for the people to regain liberty. By the time all of the pieces are in place, not only is the opportunity to regain freedom lost, but the will to achieve freedom has also evaporated. The reader will truly love Big Brother. And that's the scariest thing of all.
That is. And this is where we're at right now. Because they're pulling the same tricks that they've pulled in the past hundreds and thousands and millions of times. And the same old thing is working. The boot is on our heads. Mm-hmm. And this is the time, this is the critical moment right here where we either stand up or we just let them roll right over us. And unfortunately, I see the latter, not the former.
I know. I mean, if they see that we're not scared anymore and we're starting to speak up, what do? They bring another terror in. Then they come to the rescue. And the scariest part of that whole thing right there is the reader will truly love Big Brother. Yeah,
well, it's what he said, or it was Aldous Huxley that said that people will learn to love their servitude. I mean, and
it's happening. You see it everywhere.
Absolutely, and they're doing it pharmacologically. I mean, with all, people are just, in front of their TVs and on Prozac.
And our teachers teaching our children.
Oh, God.
To love Big Brother.
Common Core, absolutely. Surveillance. That's what the Common Core is Big Brother acceptance.
Yep. And you hear every once in a while, you'll hear of a state, refusing the Common Core, but it'll eventually be in every state, even the ones that refuse it.
Oh, sure. This is
if not Common Core, another form.
Well, yeah, they'll just call it something else, and it'll be the exact same present wrapped up in a different wrapper.
And and all that, suspending kids for making guns out of pastry and stuff like that. That has a great effect on the kids, and it's teaching them, do not step out of line.
Yeah,
do not step out of line.
It's teaching them to be a bunch of wimps and pussies too. I mean, it's teaching. They're teaching the little boys to be little girls and the little girls to be little boys, and they're confusing them at a very young age now.
They're taking away gender. Pride in your
identity.
Gender.
Identity.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they call it identity. Gender identity.
Right.
What is your identity? Are you sure about that? Are you sure?
Now they don't want to use the term he or she.
Right. Oh, yeah, because it might be offensive.
Right. It's so far out there.
That's Orwellian. That's absolutely Orwellian, and it's Orwellian that they could make us question our own selves when they do that. They have succeeded, and they're doing that just exponentially because I go into a Target store a few months back, and this person who is a guy dressed like a girl is on the register and talking about oh my God, this man has broke my heart to this lady in front of me, and I'm just going, get it together, dude. You're at work here, and what are you doing? It just, oh my God, I just smiled and went through as fast as I could, but people are not getting it at all. And it's very, very scary. Orwell was absolutely right, on point.
It's not. It's like every time I go to Safeway, which isn't very often, that's one of our stores here, and I needed paraffin last night, so I went to the market, and I can't get over how shocked the cashier is every time I refuse the discount by getting their card. Mm-hmm. So that you can be tracked on everything you buy. And It's like, but you would save this much money, and I go, I don't want to be tracked or have my information sold to third and fourth and fifth parties.
Yeah.
And they look stunned. Yeah. It doesn't register.
Like a deer in the headlights. Right. I get it. Because they're conditioned as long as everybody else is, and it's going to be easy for people just to extend their arm and take that microchip to open the door to the grocery store. You know what I mean? And people who don't have the chip, the door isn't going to open for you, dude. You know what I mean? Yeah. That's how it is. That's how it's going to be, and that's the way they're accepting people incrementally accept this shit. And what was I going to say? I was just going to say something too. Shit. No, I forgot. I totally forgot what I was going to say.
It's just shock.
I remember what I was going to say. There's a kid, a teen, and I don't know. I saw this story. I read the first paragraph or whatever, and then I got sidetracked. But there was some kid somewhere who was suing the school district because they wouldn't allow him into the girls' bathroom, and he actually got awarded. I don't know what the sum of money was, but it was a lot.
Well, California passed that law, and they're going to have male and female bathrooms. They haven't started it yet, but they passed the law for that. Yeah. I don't know about anybody else, but I wouldn't want my teenage daughter going into the same bathroom with teenage boys.
Right. I mean, come on. You're going to encourage a lot of crap to go on.
Oh, yeah. And it's taken away from parent authority, too.
That's right. That's exactly it. And so we get further down this Orwellian hole here, and the boot keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger, the more we allow all this nonsense to keep happening. It's ridiculous. This crap keeps proliferating in people's brains oh, we've got to be gender sensitive. Oh, identity sensitive. Identity sensitivity classes for everybody. And guess what? Right. Dianne fucking Feinstein's on every one of them fucking committees.
Yeah, that's
You know what I'm
true.
saying? Come
Yeah.
on here, people.
Mm-hmm.
It pisses me off to no end, and it's difficult. It's just, ugh. And
I
it's
know
when you
it's
try
frustrating.
and explain this to people, they look at you like the deer in the headlights. Why don't you want the discount card? I mean, this is exactly the reaction, and this is why I think they're just going to roll right the fuck over us. I mean, there's some of us that are going to stand the hell up and start, saying absolutely not. This is the line in the sand. It's already, you've crossed it a long time ago, type thing. And there's those that are going to just sit and watch it happen, and then there's those that are going to get up and do something about it, just like we're trying to do here on this network.
Yeah, but I don't know. That is always it. It just that always brings back to why I'm doing this. When I do go to that store and they do look at me with this blank look, like
Yeah,
they can't. What are you saying? What? It's
yeah.
just
It's sad too. It's pathetic and it's pitiful, and you're kind of looking back at him like, you poor sorry sap.
yeah.
I
It
mean,
brings to the forefront.
there's nothing I can do to help you, zombie. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Yep.
I'm
It
gonna
brings
slide
right
in
to
the
the
hole.
forefront why we do what we do here, because we got to get through that wall that people have put up around them.
Yeah,
That it says don't listen to anything that
outside of the
is.
sphere
Yeah.
of existence. That brings us right back to where we were in the beginning of the show, doesn't it?
Yeah. We went full circle.
Yep, we did. Think outside the box.
Yeah. I don't know. And almost every headline now is about the torture. Now, what is that distracting us from, too?
Exactly. And it was
Mm-hmm.
perfectly placed. The timing couldn't be any more impeccable. As Jules was saying with this UN thing, it's the perfect opportunity along with this police brutality stuff for the UN to come in and say, "Oh, look, the United States needs NATO's help. Oh, they just can't seem to control themselves." It's perfectly placed. The timing couldn't have been any more perfect. This
Yeah.
wasn't by accident. John Kerry was on one side saying, "No, no, no, don't release it. You're going to embolden our enemies." And
Right.
yeah, right. Skull and Bones Hegelian King of Kings himself, supposedly. These damn bastards. And then, you got Feinstein on the other end going, "We must release this immediately. Look what they're doing." You know what I mean? It's all a big fucking joke.
Yep.
I mean, I'm not laughing. I am laughing, but I'm not laughing, right? Let's do Hegelian like that. How's that? For freaking supporting both sides of the issue, motherfucker. I'm laughing, but I'm not laughing.
Yep.
Mm.
It's
That's
just.
the mindset you kind of got to have with all this shit that's going on.
Yeah. It's like being outside looking in at all this destruction,
Mm-hmm.
and not being able to stop it.
Yeah, that's the hard part. You're right.
Mm-hmm.
It's like
Yeah.
you're watching the disintegration of, like, I don't know, the ground underneath your feet. So,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah. It's the helplessness that gets to you.
Yeah, the Pavlovian learned helplessness.
Mm-hmm.
And you just roll over and show your pink belly, and I don't know what else to do, and oh my god, I can't do anything about it. Oh, look, here's my pink belly. Please stab a big knife in it and gut me.
Yeah. I don't know. It's hard to be optimistic, and I usually very optimistic, and it's getting harder and harder to hold on to that.
It is. I mean, especially with the slippery slope we're on right now, and us sliding very fast down to where we know what's down there. What some of us are up here on the rim going, I ain't going down there. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
most of us are just it's like it's a long way down there, but they're free falling.
I mean, you think I mean, I know I do. I just think, what am I doing this for? And you almost want to give up. But then that other voice in me says, never give up.
I know, it's this dualistic thing that we've been talking about. Man, it's and I know we all feel like that, and I know Jules does too, because she has to get out and vent, and she has to do this, and it's good for me to get it off my chest too, so that I'm not carrying it around with me all day like I used to. It's kind of good to vent this shit out, you know what I mean?
Yeah, a lot of people ask, how can you do that when all you do is talk about doom and the bad things? And I go, because the bad is outweighing the good now.
Well, sure, and bad's happening, like, ever increasingly. Like, before it used to happen, once every, 25 years or so, and now, like the JFK, and the next thing that happened was, 25 years later, or whatever, Oklahoma, whatever, and, I mean, that's how it goes. I mean, it goes just like that now. It's happening more often. More things are happening.
I mean, even mainstream can't not report it anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. They're being forced to look at it. And I don't know. I think that alternative media and alternative stuff, radio and, what people like us and here, everybody at UCY is doing is it actually is changing the landscape up at the higher ups, because those bastards up there are being forced to cover this stuff, because we down here or whatever, or over here, we're not saying that we're lower than Fox or anything. We're actually, as far as alternative stuff, I mean, UCY is like right there at the top, as far as I'm concerned. And I think we're doing a fantastic job. I think we're doing a better job than the freaking media.
I think the protest also in the same way, that it's making people think more. It's it's getting into some of them that they have to question why so many people, thousands upon thousands upon thousands, are going to the streets. There's a reason behind it.
And you're right, because if it doesn't do anything else, at least it opens up discussion on the topic, which it needs to be discussed. I mean, everybody's sick of this shit.
And it is being discussed. More and more people are going, wow, did you see all the people that went out and protest and stuff? So it is being talked about too. So they are doing, I 100%, I believe in getting your voice out somehow.
Well, I mean, there's all the information is out there. I mean, really, all you got to do is put in police brutality into YouTube and be ready to be there for the next 4 weeks, solid, looking at the videos.
Yep, and in every city, every single city across this country, I don't think there's
in the world.
I don't think there's been one city not affected with police brutality.
Right. There isn't. I mean, it's the boot. It's Orwell's boot coming in right and smashing on your face, and it's stepping harder, and the boot is getting bigger and bigger and bigger as we, the people, allow this to take place.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's true. You want to look at the culprit, you need to look only into a mirror. I mean, that's what it is. Really, it comes down to us. And it comes down to what are we doing to help affect this energy that's out there that's screwed up and engulfing us in darkness.
Yeah. Yeah, Yeah, like every once in a while I'll go in and watch Mark Dice's
I like
surveys. Yeah. And, and of course he gets attacked.
Sure.
Everything I've heard the guy say has been right on.
Oh, yeah.
But to show the stupidity of people, it's funny, but yet it's so very, very sad.
Scary. It scares the hell out of you because, I mean, there it is right there in full color. I mean, the people are there.
And it shows blind obedience.
Yes.
People will sign anything without reading it.
Or thinking about it.
Right.
Just like they do in Congress. Just like they do in the Senate. You think they read those things?
Hell no.
Hell no, they don't read that shit. the people in Congress are like the people on those Mark Dice videos. You know, oh really, really? Oh, you want to sign to kill everybody and kill everybody over 50 years old or whatever?
Right. And they sign
And they sign it, and they sign it, and they
and
sign
with their
it.
mother standing right next to them.
Oh well, we're gonna sign a bill to you know, Patriot Act. Oh yeah, we're gonna sign that.
Well, that one it cracked me up the most because it said right at the very top in big letters, "I am a moron."
Right.
A couple people caught it and laughed, but
Wow.
when they handed out free radiated water from Fukushima.
Yeah, I remember that one. That's
10 cents a
funny
bottle.
one. Yeah, they were paying for it.
Yeah, and
Big radioactive sign on the bottle. I mean,
yeah, and what got me was the one guy that looked at him and started laughing and said, "You are kidding me, aren't you?" And he goes,
right.
"Yeah, we're just yeah, survey." But yeah, you know, one person out of how many got it.
Yeah, absolutely. That's scary.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
and they would open the bottle and drink it right there on the camera.
Can you imagine? I mean, that's just
Here, give it to your kids. You know?
Oh yeah, here, have a little drinksy, little kitty. I mean, that's what people do when they give their kids aspartame. I mean, it's just basically the same thing as giving them straight radiation.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't see any parent that says they love their children that don't read controversial things about what they're giving them. At least read it. Why are you, you know, it's like, no, I don't need to read that. But you do, because if you love your child, you have to read all of that.
Well, no, the mindset is that if the FDA says it's okay, then it's got to be safe.
Yeah.
Oh, guess what? And Dianne Feinstein's on that freaking committee too.
Like I said, you should have listed the things that she wasn't involved in. It would have been a shorter list.
Exactly. The Butt Wipers Committee. Holy crap, man. Sorry, I had to.
And you know what's funny is I have never met one person, not one, that liked Feinstein. So how is she continuing to be in office?
Oh, man. Because she's on all these subcommittees, they can't afford to lose such a touted minion, now can they?
Yeah, I guess. And she is uglier than sin.
Holy crap, man. Oh, my God. What do I say to that? I mean, I'm astounded.
Oh, wow, we're at the end of the show. What's coming up?
Oh, yeah, guess what, guys? We're at the end of the show. That's what Dianne Slimestein tends to do. Oh, my. So, let's see. Well, we've got, one. Stay tuned to UCY, folks. At one. Oh, it's all completely gone wrong now. Well, everybody take care. Yep, have a great day.
We love ya.
Yep. Have a great day. Stay tuned to UCY for all the great stuff on here.